Yo, what's going on, people? Just out here in, I believe I'm in central Michigan now on the 75 southbound, headed out to, is it New Jersey? Might be New Jersey. Let's take a look over yonder. Oh yeah, New Jersey and Maryland. Got a two-stopper. But I was trying to think of a video to make, and I could not think of one. But today, I was like thinking about how my day went yesterday, and sort of figured that it might be a reasonable video to make. So we're gonna see how it comes out here. And this is just to give people an idea of the Flatbed Experience. Hold on one second here. So, little idea of the Flatbed Experience. Tell y'all how my morning went yesterday. And this is just for the people that are thinking about flatbed and like what it all entails, and like, I mean, it ain't, I mean, there's stuff that's not going to be in here, like folding up tarps that have, like, that have frozen in the cold, or like got rained on and then it froze, and like straps that are just jammed, and like there's all kinds of stuff that's going on. Chains that won't cooperate, and like, I mean, there's a whole lot of weird stuff going on in flatbed, and like, to me, that is what I like about this particular division, is that you don't really know exactly what's going to happen a lot of the time. And I mean, this even happened on home time. That's what I came off of yesterday. It was home time, and we went out to eat with some friends of my grandma's, and it was her birthday at the time, and they were just sort of asking me about my job, and they knew about the old school trucking, where it was like, oh yeah, he was on a dedicated run. He went from Wisconsin down to Florida, and he ran that lane for 12 years. And I was like, man, if I had to do that, I don't know if I'd make it. Because I can't do that. I can't do the whole, like, normal, I know exactly when I'm going to make it back home type of thing. It's got to be unexpected all the time. I can't do the same thing over and over. It just wears me down, wears me out, and I'm over it. And they were kind of surprised at that. Like, they had asked me, so you even know where you're going when you go back? And I believe this was Saturday, and I was like, no, I was leaving on Tuesday morning, and I was like, no, I have no idea. They have not sent me anything yet, so I have no idea where I'm going. But on Monday, got my pre-planned for the load that I was going to be taking only 10 miles up the road and delivering it there, and then it was also right back into the unexpected. So that was, I kind of had a good idea of where I'd be going after that. You know, there was like a 20% chance I was going to this place, that place, or the other place, you know what I mean? But I figured I'd run down there and deliver it, and it'd take an hour and a half, 2 hours or something like that. But that is not how my morning went. So I'll explain that to y'all right here. Basically, I got to moving around 7 o'clock, or was it 6:30? Somewhere in there. I don't know. Only had 10 miles to get, or only 10 miles to make down the road, which is no miles at all. That's local miles right there. And I got there, I believe it was 7:15 or something like that, and it was a reefer place. And the stuff that I had was, they call it racking, which I think is strange because it doesn't, I don't know, to me it seems like more of a, like a, what do you want to call it? Something that you like build a roof with. It seems like metal trusses almost, but I don't know. I don't know what the heck they're using it for, but that's above my pay grade. You know what I mean? Like I'm just paid to get it there. You know what I'm saying? So, anyways, I make it down there, 7:15, and I am the only truck there, which is pretty normal. And I was sort of thinking, you know, there would be another truck coming at some point from the same company as me. That's kind of a pretty common thing, is that instead of ordering just one truckload, usually some of these customers will order multiple truckloads from the same place, and we're the guys that deliver it. So that's kind of cool that, you know, you got a little chance of running into some people, and we'll get to that. But I got there, and of course I had no idea what the hell was going on, and I wandered up to the office, and they were like, yeah, you're on the complete wrong side of the building. And I'm like, alright, that's a good start. What are we doing here? I'll break it down to 45, okay. You got it, boss. I was wondering what the heck this car was doing in front of me. But, yeah, I wandered over to the other side of the building, and it was kind of funny, actually. Once I rounded the bend, good old Swift he had parked a little too far in the ditch, and his trailer tandems were sticking in the air. I mean, this is how close he was to tipping that truck over, but he did not tip that truck over, which was very surprising. I figured that it would have just rolled over, especially because there was a pretty decent breeze out there, but that did not happen. And I was like, well, I don't really know if he expects to just drive it out of there, or if he's already called a tow truck or what the heck, but I pulled in and went to go talk to the people that I needed to and all that, and they were like, yeah, we don't have any forklifts. And I was like, alright, that's interesting, but surely it'll show up eventually, so do y'all mind if I put in some work over here? And they were like, oh yeah, you can get your tarps off and all that, like, you're in the right spot to get unloaded and everything, just straighten up a little bit and get your tarps off, and you can get your straps off too, and then you're just gonna have to play the waiting game. And I was like, alright, I like that. So, you know, a little something to keep me busy while I'm waiting here. And so I got all my junk off, rolled up my tarps, which were littered with holes, and I mean, I kind of expected that. That's sort of how these loads are. Like, I mean, they're just they got a lot of edges on them, and it's really difficult to actually get all of the edges properly to the point where you're not going to have any holes in your tire. I mean, you can do it, but the guy that I was picking this relay up from, I have no idea who it was, but he didn't really care about any of that. So there was a good amount of holes in there, and it was hung up pretty good, but we got them off just fine, and it, you know, rolled them up, threw them in the box, and it was a done deal. And I start taking off my straps, and another truck from the same company pulls up, and I was like, all right, there's another guy coming in hot, you know, like I kind of expected. You know, that's sort of a normal occurrence, is, you know, they'll order more than one truckload of this stuff. But the weird thing was that it was not from it was not from, it was the same stuff that we would usually haul, but it was not from the same place that we usually haul it from. So I was like, this is kind of weird. But, you know, I've hauled that sort of stuff, this racking stuff, from a couple of different places already. So I was like, it's not that weird, but it's certainly weird that they wanted to haul it all the way from Georgia is where it came from. And I was, you know, I thought it was kind of strange because the other spot was right down the road. And you know, okay, that's fine. Like, we'll just, yeah, like, that's whatever you guys are doing. I don't know what the heck y'all are doing, but something interesting. So yeah, this other guy pulls up, and his load looks a whole lot better than mine. And I mean, his tarps were all situated great, and he didn't have any holes going on. And I was like, man, this guy knows what he's doing. I mean, he didn't look too much older than me. I mean, maybe what? Let's call it 25, 26. That's like what he looked like about. And I was like, all right, like, dude knows what he's doing. Like, that's pretty cool. And you know, at this time I was rolling on my straps and all that, and he was getting his tarps off. And you remember that breeze that I was talking about? This is kind of a thing that they're not gonna that no one's really gonna tell you until you get out there, is that these tarps are basically sails once they're not tacked down with bungees. They're basically sails. They will pick up any wind that is out there. And I mean, like, you're supposed to lay these tarps out perfectly flat. I mean, maybe not perfectly, you know, within reason, and then you roll them out from there. You know what I mean? But when it's windy, they just catch that wind catches an edge, and you're about to get disrespected by this tarp. And it happens all the time. And since being disrespected so many times, your boy has figured out a way to escape the disrespecting that I know is coming. You know, and basically the answer is just to start chucking weight on this tarp to get it to hold down. And I mean, it's sort of the same concept when you're putting tarps on in the wind. And I didn't even figure this out until, man, it was probably 2 weeks ago. That's how soon we're talking. It took me a full year to figure out that, oh yeah, like I can bungee some weight onto my tarps, and then they don't go flying everywhere. Like, oh man, this is kind of cool. Like, I didn't even think of this. And this guy was sort of having the same experience, where, you know, tarps are just kind of going everywhere. And I was just about wrapped up with my straps and all that, so I was like, hey, do you mind if I give you a hand? Because I don't really want to watch you struggle in the wind. I mean, eventually I got to that. Like, he was like, oh, thanks for helping me with my tarps. And I was like, yeah, I couldn't sit in my truck and watch you, you know, wrestle tarps in the wind. Like, I just couldn't. I could never. But yeah, I ran over there. We rolled up a couple of tarps, and another guy pulled up, same company as me, and the other guy. And I was like, okay, that's kind of weird. Like, I guess, like, delivery day is just today. By the way, still no forklift. So I was like, okay, like, this is about to get real interesting. Like, they're about to catch that detention time on 3 different trucks. This is going to be interesting. And yeah, he pulled up. He was like, oh yeah, where do you go check in? And I was like, you know, go around the corner and catch up with your boy standing up by the door over yonder, and he'll get you situated. And he was like, all right, sounds good. And he ran off, and basically me and this other guy were still farting around with all of his tarps. I think he had 4 tarps total on this thing. It was kind of maybe a little overkill. I don't know. Maybe not. I mean, it looked pretty good, so maybe it wasn't. But basically, we got all his tarps folded up, and this guy had out his ladder and all that to get at the top of these tarps to like pull them off of the edges of this load. And I mean, y'all remember that I was talking about how this load had, you know, edges that were just ridiculous. It was just all over the place. So these tarps get hung up in every place they possibly can, and you got to kind of struggle your way out of it. And this guy and me were talking before, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I went through the program in January," and I was like, "Oh, that's kind of strange. Like, I don't remember your face, like, because I went through the program in January." So I was thinking, you know, he came from the same January that I did. I was like, "Oh, okay." Like, that's why you know what the heck's going on here. Like, okay, that makes sense. You got like a year and some change under your belt, and he had the ladder and all that, and I was like, oh, like, this guy's definitely doing it up. And by the way, I do not have one of these ladders. Both of those other guys did have ladders, and I don't know. I never got a ladder, and I haven't wanted a ladder yet. I mean, maybe there'll come a day, but I don't know. I just start crawling around that thing like it's a jungle gym. I don't really care. But, and of course, we're being careful about it, because we don't want to be getting wrecked on a job site or at a shipper or whatever. I mean, safety is the name of the game, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, he had his ladder out, and we got his last tarp off and all that, and we got it all rolled up, and still no forklifts. And I was like, it was pretty weird. And at this point, I think I had been there for probably 2 hours. So detention time is kicking in. You better know it. And other guy pulls in, starts getting his tarps off, and of course I'm giving him a hand with that, and the other guy is also giving him a hand with that. You know, just trying to help him out and all that. And that's kind of, I think that's a flatbed only thing. I don't know. That wouldn't really make any sense in like van or reefer. If like someone else is like helping you, maybe like spotting you while you're backing in or something, like that would make sense. But there's a lot of, I mean, if guys are willing to pitch in a hand, it's pretty nice. So yeah, this other guy, we helped him out with all of his stuff, and still no forklifts. But this lady pulls up in her little Chevy crossover, and I was like, who is this? Because she was talking to the contractors too and all that, so I was like, oh, she must be like, you know, from some sort of an office situation. Like maybe she's sort of like in charge of the project that's going down or whatever. Like, she's probably just trying to figure out what the heck is going on down here. Why do we have 4 now flatbed trucks sitting here waiting? Because another guy pulled up not soon after, or not too soon. Not much time had passed since we started getting the other guy's tarps off, that this guy pulled up. That's how we'll say that. But she pulled up, and she was from the place that I was talking about before, that's like just down the road. And I mean, they do the same thing. They do this this racking stuff, which was what we were all hauling. Everyone had the same kind of stuff, a couple of boxes thrown in there, and this steel racking stuff. And I mean, this was something that I had not seen before, but she started running around, and she's like, you know, trying to figure out what the heck's going on, and, you know, talking to people, and like calling people. It was pretty strange, and I was like thinking, like, why would this lady even be out here? Like, she's not, I don't believe that she's from the same company that this stuff came from, so it was kind of, you know, a little strange to understand at first. And me and this other guy were sort of, you know, just standing around shooting the bull, and he came to the conclusion that she must have gotten this load, like been the middleman or the broker in between, you know, this company, which is just down the road from the place that she's at, and this other company that's down in Georgia but sells the same stuff. So maybe they just needed something special or whatever, and she was supposed to be in charge, but she was like on the phone, like, I can't remember the guy's name she was talking about, but she was like, yeah, like, we got like 4 trucks down here and no forklifts, and all these guys are gonna start getting detention time. And we're like, yeah, like, we're sorry, but I mean, it's not personal, it's just business, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what the heck happened with these dang forklifts, but that was like the issue of the morning, was that there were no forklifts to be had, and everyone was going to be sitting until, you know, until that little situation was handled. And I figured, you know, it was going to be some guy pulls up with like a half-ton pickup with a walk-behind trailer and a forklift on the trailer. Like, that's what I was thinking. You know, kind of thinking like maybe they had contracted that work out, and this guy was just held up doing something else, or late, what have you, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, we were all sitting there for probably another hour. Yeah, maybe an hour and a half. We were all sitting there, untarped, ready to go. And of course, this lady from the place down the street is kind of losing her mind a little bit, because, you know, all these trucks are sitting here and they're ready to go, and there's no way to get them going, you know? I mean, you can't take this stuff off by hand. It's just too heavy. But eventually, these dang forklifts did show up, and she seemed pretty pumped about that. You know, she's running around like, the forklifts are here. She's got the thumbs up, and I'm like, yeah, like, let's get this show on the road. Like, I'm kind of sick of sitting here and all that. And it turns out that these forklifts were hauled there in a van trailer. And I was like, okay, that's really weird. I don't know if they just did not, like, if they just ordered some new forklifts or what the heck, but it was something like that. I mean, like, this whole day was just something very strange that I had never seen before, all compiled into a 4-hour span of time. But yeah, basically, that is what ended up happening with my morning, because once those forklifts got there, they were on the job, and they were going. Like, they were like, we need to get these dang trucks out of here right now, because surely all of us sitting there, it's probably costing them a pretty penny by the hour to have all the trucks sitting there just waiting. So I got unloaded pretty dang quick, and basically I was out of there. I was gone in the wind, and what is this guy doing? Dude right next to me is making all sorts of hand signals in the window or whatever. I don't know what the heck he's doing. You're weird. Anyways, so yeah, I got unloaded, and I was out of there. I wasn't waiting around for anything. I had already caught my logs up with what I was doing, so there was no waiting around. I was gone in the wind, having another load planned, and that is the load that I have right now, which came from the UP, and it's going to New Jersey and Maryland, which is pretty cool. I mean, it's cool stuff too. It's not like a stock load. This is like an LTL load of like snowplows and stuff, which makes a whole lot of sense, doesn't it? Because it's spring now and everything. So I don't know if they're just restocking from a winter season gone by or what the heck the deal is, but yeah, that's my situation. Yeah, I mean, that's just kind of the flatbed thing. It's really strange. I mean, you can be hauling all sorts of weird stuff, all sorts of cool stuff, and it can be the smoothest thing ever, or some really, really weird stuff happens, and you're standing there like, like this is very strange. I've never seen this before, but I'm glad I'm here to witness it because it's pretty interesting. And by the way, this load that I picked up was a preloaded trailer, which means that once I made it up there to the UP, like the whole trailer was done. All the straps were on it, all the tarps were on it, and it was ready to go. Literally all I had to do was drop my trailer, give them back what they gave me equipment-wise, and make sure all the straps were tight that they put on there, and I was gone in the wind. Like, it was over with. And I mean, I didn't make it too far yesterday because I did get held up in the morning, but that is the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. And I don't know. One of my friends, he does a little delivery sort of situation for a different company in my hometown, and this one time he Snapchatted me and he was like, "Man, I've been waiting for 10 minutes and I am sick of my life, and like, what the heck is taking him so long? I don't know how you do this." And I was like, "Man, I've waited for 8 hours for a load once. Like, that was really strange that happened, and I haven't had it happen since, but it's happened." He was like, "Oh my God, like I would just die." So I don't know if it's just a mind state thing, like that whole waiting game or whatever. Like, sometimes it just happens. Like, flatbed is no exception to it. You're gonna get that in every division, where it's just something isn't ready, or you got there too early, or they're closed, or what have you. Like, there's just all kinds of stuff that goes on where you're going to be waiting for a little while to get to whatever you're doing. But yeah, does that really say 30 minutes? Dang near. Holy smokes. Well, that's story time for y'all this morning, I guess. Oh, that's too funny. So yeah, the flatbed thing. I don't know. I like it. I like it a lot. I'm not going anywhere for a while, I don't think. Maybe do some other stuff just to see what's going on, but I enjoy it for the most part. And I guess I gave y'all a pretty pretty interesting picture about how some things can be a little difficult in this division, and how things can be hunky-dory. You pull up and it's good to go and you're out of there. You know what I mean? Like, it can just be so many different ways in this division. So yeah, that's a wrap. I'm gonna keep it rolling, and I will catch y'all on the next one. Bye bye.